Hey yo, salute to all my subscribers. Shout out to everybody else passing through. YouTube, what's good? Back again with another installment in the series, What's My Beef in News Media? Listen to this shit I came across today. And I'm sure this is a few days old at this point, but y'all know how this platform goes. I come across something that it sparks interest or provokes some kind of interest, and then I just go on about it. I put it up, and the point of this platform is for you all to interact and engage. So recently there was a protest, the March for Our Lives protest, and there was a rapper there, Vic Mensa, who performed um, in um, in support of the recent uh, push to increase gun control, and this is resulting from all of the recent mass shootings that have been going on, and the most recent one, the high school shooting out in Florida. So that's not what the issue is. That's not my beef. And Vic Mensa, I don't know him. I don't listen to his music. I just, he's part of a generation, music that I don't really subscribe to. I'm more of a late '80s, '90s, and early 2000s. That's kind of like my comfort zone. But that's neither here nor there. Point is the narrative of this article that I really want to know what the fuck is the point of it. So, um, here's how the article starts off. So, rapper Vic Mensa, who joined several other celebrities to perform on stage at a recent March for Our Lives protest in Washington D.C., was convicted of a gun crime in California last year. Here's the first issue with this, and this is what's in the headline. Here's the first issue with that headline. So if you go a little bit further down, I don't know if you've all have seen the article yet. If not, I found it on MSN.com. It's typically where I check out a lot of my news, and then I'll go further into it from there, depending on what it is. Um, so in the headline itself, convicted of gun crime. So there was no gun crime. He was in Beverly Hills. He got pulled over for not stopping at a stop sign, and the police found the firearm in his vehicle. Firearm that, by the way, is legally registered to him, for which he has a permit for. Just happens that the gun is not registered and his permit is not for the state of California, which is where he was when he was traveling with the gun. Um, so I guess that's the crime. But this headline kind of insinuates a false narrative of there was some kind of commission of an actual crime with this firearm, and that just wasn't the case. And that's not even my beef with this article. My beef with this article is, so the fuck what? What really is the narrative here? What really is the point here? And I'm on record, recently talking a lot about these types of situations. We see it here. We see it when minorities are, involved with unarmed police shootings, and they're the victim of situations that got out of control through not as much fault of their own to result in a lot of these unarmed shootings, which ends lives of these young men and women, minorities, mind you. Um, what is the point here? Is the point that just because you're speaking out against something, uh, that your credibility is somehow, is the point here that if you're convicted of or have something on your criminal record that you're in support of some kind of movement against, or you're speaking out against it because it's on your record, does that somehow mean that you're no longer qualified to speak on that situation? Because that would be stupid, and wouldn't make any sense. It's just like when these young men and women get gunned down by police and they try to justify their shootings, and the news media, in an attempt to aid these overzealous officers, they dig up the past history of these young men and women. They dig up any criminal offenses they may have on their record, whether it be violent, whether it be drug offenses, whatever the case. Somebody's criminal background has nothing to do with them being a victim in a situation. Just like this article, this this rapper Vic Mensa having been convicted or pled guilty to gun possession, whatever the case, has nothing to do with him performing and giving his support at a rally or protest in support of gun control. As a matter of fact, if the narrative, if the point of that narrative is to insinuate that if this person has this on their record, how can they be protesting for greater gun control? In my personal opinion, I'm more apt to listen to someone speak about a topic if they have direct experience with that topic that they're speaking about. Shit like this, I think, really hurts these movements and these protests whenever they do sprout up, because here you have people here and students, of this recent high school shooting, victims family members who are trying to affect real change through legislation out of horrific situations, tragic situations where people lost their lives, people lost family members, and people's, whole family units forever torn apart. Recent mass shooting out in Las Vegas, and all the other mass shootings that have been happening in recent years. And I feel like you draw away from the focus of that when you start to paint these different narratives. And I guess, it could be argued that that's kind of the drawback to having celebrities participate in these types of things. But we want our celebrities, the people that these kids look up to and follow on Twitter and Instagram and buy tickets to their shows and shit like that. We want to feel like these celebrities are connected, and that when there are these grassroots events that are organized, we want to see the people that we support and spend our hard-earned money to um, support. We want to know that they support us as well. And shit like this just takes away you know, from the attention going where it should be going, and that's trying to get legislation pushed on stricter, more reasonable gun control. This type of article is fucking bullshit, and I just have beef with news and media overall, because you see shit like this all the time, and there's really, especially in this case, there's really no reason for this shit. I mean, it's just more of the same. The system and middle America and news media, that when somebody is convicted of a crime or has something on their criminal record, you turn them into a negative image, someone with no credibility, just because there's a difference between being a criminal and having a criminal record. And just because you have a criminal record does not mean that you're forever qualified from doing anything positive or having anything to do or say about that topic that you might have, had issues with in the law. And that's barring certain things, obviously, for those of you who are less sensitive in this day and age that we, exist. Anyway, man, I don't pretend to know everything. I just know what I know. Let me know what y'all think about this one, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace and love.